Hi, I'm Becky and I'm here to show you how to make these 3 bags. These are the Wash Bag Wonders from Threaders by Crafter's Companion. Inside the pack you'll get the dies to make these 3 different sized bags, all the same shape, and you'll have a little die to make a pocket in them as well, so you can just see them on the back here. So you'll get your dies, which are multimedia dies. So these are the copper coloured ones, and these are fantastic for cutting multiple layers of fabric or even thick fabric like leather or denim. You'll see that you'll have, if I take one of these off, they are half the shape of the die of the bag. What you will do is you'll take your piece of fabric and you'll fold it in half and you'll place this die on the fold line, and then when you open up the die after you've cut the shape, you'll get the full panel of the bag. So in your little booklet you will find all the details for how you need to make the bag and how much fabric you'll need. So on these bags you'll have details for example the large one, you'll be making main panels, base panels, zip panels and pocket panels, and you'll be making them out of lining fabric and outer fabric. You can also include interfacing and wadding if you want to. So if you're using a flimsy fabric like a cotton or a silk perhaps, you'll want to use some kind of thicker wadding or batting inside just to give the bag a little bit of structure. So I'll start by showing you how to put the panels together. So here we have the first part of the bag. So these are the 2 bag panels. So these have been cut using the largest die. What I've added onto these is some interfacing, and this is iron-on interfacing, and this just makes the fabric have a little bit more structure. So I ironed the interfacing onto the fabric first of all, and then I put it through the die cutting machine so I know that everything matches up exactly. So I need 2 of those. Then I need 2 of the lining, so I'm just using plain white cotton. And you can see I haven't actually ironed away the crease in the centre because this is going to be quite useful for when we're putting the bag together. So 2 of those. Then we have the base panel, again with interfacing. Then we have 2 of these, which are the zip panels with their linings, and then these also have interfacing on them as well. We also have the lining for the base panel and also the pocket piece as well. So these are all the pieces you'll need to put together, cut out to put together. The first thing we start with is the zip panel. So we have 2 of these outer strips and 2 of these liners, and then we pop a long zip into the middle. So we would stitch it together first of all, like so. So we have the lining the outer fabric on the underside, then we have the zip, and then we have the lining, and then we fold it over, and then we do the same with the other side, and then iron it all flat. Then if you run some top stitching around the outside, that will just make sure that this keeps nice and flat and stops any of the fabric from getting caught up in the teeth of the panel. So now we're going to put the zip panel into the main panel of the bag. So we're going to be taking the one of the panels and we're going to be using our zip insertion tool. Now if you don't have one of these, it's not a problem. You can just follow the directions in the booklet, which gives you all the measurements. But if you do have this, this is really useful to do. So you'll see on the zip insertion tool you've got some little rectangles, and you've also got corresponding sort of lines with little arrows either side. What you will do is you'll place your pocket on the top of your panel, like just here, and then you will place your zip insertion tool just over the pocket and mark out this rectangle and then this line inside, and then you'll stitch all the way around the outside of the this little panel and then cut it out along the line. Then you will turn the pocket inside out, so you'll sort of poke it through so it comes round the side here. Then you'll pop your zip on the top and then stitch all the way around the edge. And then just to finish it off, on the rear you will sew down the sides of the pocket and also at the top, just to finish it all off. So we're now going to attach the zip panel to the gusset of the bag. So we're going to attach the short side first of all, just here, and then I'm just going to measure it against the actual bag base to make sure it fits before I sew the other side together. So now we're going to sew our zip panel onto the gusset of the bag. So we're just going to sew on the short ends first of all. So we're going to do 2 short ends together so you've made like a hoop. But we're going to start with one end first of all, and then we're just going to make sure it fits around the main panel of the bag before we sew the other part to it, because it might need a little bit of trimming. So I'm going to pop it down here, just line it up and then sew with your sewing machine, using your 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then we're going to take our panel, and we already have, we still have this sort of mark here where we've got the fold line, which I've deliberately kept. So I'm just going to find the halfway point in my zip panel, and then I'm going to fold that over. I'm going to make a little bit of a mark or a fold just there so I can see where it is. So I might use my heat erasable pen just to make a little mark here. And then I'm going to match that with the top of the bag here, right sides together. Now I'm just going to do this very quickly at the moment, because all I'm doing at the moment is making sure that it fits around here. So I don't need to be precise in clipping it, in case, as if we're going to be sewing it, because we're just making sure that it's the right size and if it needs any kind of trimming. So go around these curves. So I can see here I've got a little bit of extra fabric, so I'm just going to make a little mark here, trim that, and I'm also going to make a little mark on this panel here and trim that there. So I'm just going to cut those little pieces off before I sew everything together. And now that we've trimmed that little piece off, we're just going to put these 2 edges together and then stitch along here. So we've got a hoop that we're going to go around the actual bag panel. So as you can see, I've clipped all the way around the outside, and then I'm going to sew it on the sewing machine, going around those curves very carefully. So I've now stitched all the way around the outside and the little gusset here. So you can trim around the edges, around the curves, if you need to. And then we just need to attach the other side of the bag to here. But before we do that, we need to make sure we undo the zip in order to be able to fold everything back out the right way. So now you've stitched your main body bag panel to your zip panel and your gusset. You're going to do the final one, and this is the one with the little zip pockets on it. So once again, you're just going to be looking for the center points of both the zip panel and the gusset and also the panel bag. So you'll just need to have a look, work out where the center is. So I'm going to zip this up for the moment, and I'm just going to put these 2 pieces together and then pull to make a point, and I'll mark that with my heat erasable pen just so I know where that center point is. And I'm going to do the same with my bag panel here. So I'll just fold it over and then make a little mark just so. Then we're going to unzip the bag and then fold it inside out. So we've got right sides together. Now you're unzipping the bag so you're able to turn it out on itself afterwards. So we'll just put that like so. And then I will just find the middle point of this gusset as well, just to make it a little bit easier. That's there. And the midpoint of the gusset's there. So I'm now just going to clip it all together and then sew it the same way we've done the other parts of the bag. Okay, we've stitched around the whole of the bag, and now we're going to do the lining. So the lining is going to be for the gusset and the main body of the bag, but the lining for the zip panel is already there. So we're just going to put those bits together in the same way that we've done before. So we've got our lining fabric here, and we've got these center points that I was saying before are really useful to have. And then I've got my gusset, which I'm just going to fold in half, make that point there so I know where that mark is and put those two together, and then stitch across here and do the same with this piece too. So now I've got my bag and I've opened that up, the zip up fully, and I've got it facing upwards. I'm going to take my lining fabric and I'm going to place my lining so the right sides are facing. So we've got the stitching over here, and we're going to pin this all together and then stitch around this curved part here. So similar to the other bag that we did earlier on. So I'm going to clip one side and then sew it, but we're not going to do these very edges. We're just doing the curved part of the bag. So the little part in the middle where the gusset is, we're going to leave, we're going to sew that separately. So I'll start by doing this side. And now we're ready to turn our bag the right way round. So remember, we've got this little hole, this little gap in the lining. So we're going to just feed the bag through this hole in the lining. So this is where these sort of securing stitches that you do on either end of that little space are really important. And then we will open up the bag and then push the lining back down inside. So you just need to tidy up that lining with some stitching in that little gap once you're ready and happy with it all. And then you've finished your little wash bag wonder. So there you have your large, medium and small bags made with our multimedia bag dies, the Wash Bag Wonders by Threaders at Crafters Companion.